let us begin with the conversation.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. I think Mukesh was here. I don't know.
Yeah, even I saw him here just a minute ago, and
I think he
then.
must have got scared of all of you.
All right, so while we wait for him to join us, I will then begin the conversation because the timer started on us, and that's not going to wait. So let's begin. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the era where business has become hyper competitive alongside becoming hyper personalized. And the lines between technology and business strategy are increasingly becoming blurred. While a few years ago, organizations would have a different strategy for technology and a different strategy that would build around business, today, that distinction seldom exists. And to that effect, my first question to you on this conversation, Atul sir, is, how have expectations from CFOs and CMOs actually evolved, and how is it that they can help the transformation agenda of an organization, which is basically built on the core of data, AI, and cloud, be driven from within?
Sure. So first of all, let me start with a disclaimer. What I am going to say in this session are my views based on my workings with different companies. They are not a reflection of what the companies think, or this is not the official view of companies. So having got that out of the way, Kanchi, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I think this is an extremely important topic, and I'm so glad that we have got a business cohort and a technology cohort. Both are equally important, but it's very important to focus. Otherwise, many times what happens is technology and business, it gets mixed up. And so let us focus on the business aspects. Coming to your question, we all know about 10, 15 years back, there was a term called VUCA, right? That term is now it's hyper VUCA. We all know what it is. In the VUCA world, there was a transitioning, there was an evolution. It's no longer evolution now. Now there's a transformation happening. And every business is facing this great tsunami, which is actually questioning the existence of the business. I mean, business after business, sectors after sectors. You look at e-vehicles, for example. I mean, if you have set up a plant with diesel vehicles, what is going to happen to you? Imagine if you have set up a investment in your, let's say, entertainment business, and today everybody is downloading films and seeing it on the mobile. What happens to your business? So I think one of the major changes which is happening in business, which means that therefore the technology is playing a bigger role, a transformative role, is that the floor is changing. It is no longer now an incremental, step by step, we will do it in good time, it's a 5-year plan, it's a 2-year plan. No. These things are changing by the day. Okay? And this is one of the reasons why technology and business has to come together, because we can no longer afford this, ping pong, saying that now it is with technology, now it is with business. Both of them have to work together. And when we come to the generative AI, and we talked about cloud, and we talk about data, more and more the focus is going to be on business drivers and how you embed technology in business, rather than having a separate planet called technology and a separate planet called business. I'll pause here because Mukesh is, I think, got a very interesting ideas as well. Mukesh, all yours.
Thank you. First of all, apologies. I didn't realize that starting I was in the next panel. Sorry about that. And great to be with Atul here. So all the views and all expressed by me will be definitely my personal opinion, not reflecting my current or past companies. So disclaimer as well. So my view, see, I'm in the industry for 28 years now. While I was working at Microsoft in Seattle, I was always like, I was always looking at, okay, fine, technology. And I almost have zero interaction with the business folks. So my world was only technology. As Atul have said, right, it is in a different planet. I was actually thinking that I'm in a different planet. My real interaction with the business happened when I joined Mukesh in Jio, And that's where I started working, realizing, okay, no, business actually is money, right? Technical, yes, you can be doing whatever you want, but ultimately it has to come down to money. And then that's where I learned with working for Geo was what is the capex and opex and what is the difference between the two and how does procurement happen, all of those parts of it. But even more interesting was then I was getting become more and more curious. Hey, I have enough experience, but now I never got an interaction to actually interact with the business directly. So I took on this role at Capgemini 5 years back, and the purpose was, okay, fine, how can I see the business more closely? As a chief technology officer, I was looking at, okay, fine, innovation is there and everything. No, it's not technology innovation, it's the business innovation. And how technology can help, how technology can support it. And that's how it has started over a period of time. But one thing is common across all. It has to be ultimately, there is a phrase in Hindi, Dulhan wahi jo piya man bhai, right? A movie or something, right? Which means it works only when the business, right? Whatever technology, whatever you do, right? It has to serve or satisfy the business needs. That's where the value is.
Brilliant. So you've focused upon the core technology aspects within the conversation and how there is a mindset change within the technology leader's mind as well. Let's zoom in a little bit on data. And from that lens, because data, as we saw, that is a foundational bedrock for everything else that is happening around, the AI algorithms, the statistical modeling, and everything that is being applied to the data. And of course, exploiting, the data on the cloud as well. So it's basically, when we talk about a board, or from the board's perspective, data now has a seat at the table. And is a core foundation of where the decisions are going, because we speak about data-driven decision-making and everything to do with data. How do you think, and from this view and from the audience in this hall, CFOs and CMOs can use this data effectively to create business wins?
That's a very interesting point. You might have heard about it, right? Data is a new oil. Mukesh bhai used to always talk about that. Over a period of time, I realized not just oil, actually it's sunshine. Sunshine. If you use it today, you get value. If you don't, you lost today's value at least. From tomorrow, you'll get it again, maybe, if the clouds are not clouds. But yes, the data, from the CFO's perspective, I think it's like every activity or inactivity generates data. Most of the reading material you will see, it will all talk about every activity generates data. And over a period of time, realize that yes, we have to have that eye for the detail about where the data is, how the data can be captured in a way. So all the three parts. So you have a certain process or something, three parts. First, what data I can capture in this process. Second, what processing I can do to understand and gain insights of what's happening. And more important, what can we do so that we can tune, we can change the outcome going forward, which means using the insights. So capture, insights, and usage. Those three parts, over a period of time, we have found out that it works for multiple clients, right? Initially, at Capgemini, we were focusing mostly on CIOs. It worked well. But now when we start focusing on CXO, it's even working better because now it's no longer part about a technology, it's a business solution. And shorter solution, faster solution. I don't know how many of you use self-service, but that is something which a lot of people want. We always want white glove service. We create a report and send out. No. People are loving more and more about self-service, which could be in Power BI. You do this part. And last point on this, simulation. What if? What if temperature goes up? What if their attrition is high? What if the dollar rate goes down or dollar rate comes up? What if the Russia-Ukraine things come? Or what if new Canada issue comes up? How does this going to affect those parts? The CFO want those numbers, those simulations at the fingertips. If you have a good machine learning model behind that, definitely you'll be able to enable those, and not just outside, same in the Power BI itself. So that's how I think the demand is for people to take decisions faster.
Brilliant, and I couldn't agree more. Thank you for encapsulating that in such a nice little capsule and laying out your expectations for CFOs and CMOs on the usage of data and effectively doing so. Atul sir, I'd like to switch gears now a little bit and zoom into this perspective of, every organization these days is looking at driving the innovation agenda. And while they are doing so, there is a mandate that CFOs have, there is a mandate that CMOs have within this entire innovation agenda. And I believe one is fiscal prudence, the other is developing a competitive edge. How exactly can this be done?
Kanchi, my first point itself was saying that the world is changing. I mean, each one of the people in this room realizes that it is no longer about hygiene. It has gone much beyond hygiene. It is not about ERP. We are gone. Those days are gone now, where you're talking about basic data for invoicing, basic pricing data. Now, of course, there are companies which have not got that right as well. And I mean, less said the better. But they have to do a huge technical debt which has to be paid to get there, right? But the stakes today are so high that you're talking about intelligence, you're talking about insight, you're talking about how do I have an understanding about my customer and about my business and my operations and my supply chain better than the next man. If you don't have that, you can say goodbye to running a business. Because either you are number one or you are number two. There is no place for 3, 4, 5. Right? So in my experience working with companies, I have seen that, companies, there are leaders and there are laggards. Laggards are still trying to catch up. The leaders, on the other hand, are having insights, and they are coupling the insights with the intelligent models which are there, the sort of generative AI. I mean, the heart of this seminar is generative AI. And this generative AI is, you don't need to develop it. It's all sitting there in the cloud. Now, the importance of the cloud is not about using it as an infrastructure. Again, those stakes are gone behind now. The next level is that how do you use those algorithms which are already there on the cloud and couple it with your internal data, inside data, the differentiating data, and make it into a winning combination. And then you have got the hidden sauce is, of course, processes. Nobody talks about processes. There is data, there is processes, there is culture, and then there is talent. I mean, my last point is there was a very nice talk by the head of one of the digital leaders, global leaders, and he said it is a 10-20-70 rule, right? 10% is algorithm. 20% is your 20% is your what I forgot, and 70% is adoption, right? So imagine, and the adoption is based on your culture. Culture doesn't come overnight. So I'll just leave you with this idea that you have to start working on it today and take the data to the next level, the culture to the next level. Talent is not easily available. This is an extremely scarce talent. So even if you decide that, yeah, after this meeting, we are going to focus on generative AI, because it is a disruptor. Why it is a disruptor? Imagine a student in class, the guy uses ChatGPT and another person doesn't use ChatGPT. Who do you think will have a better essay or output? And similarly in business, the marketing person who uses OpenAI or the finance person who looks at OpenAI versus someone who doesn't have it, it is an unfair advantage, gentlemen and ladies. And we need to, take that and move forward our business.
Well, I totally concur with that assertion. And your articulation to that question actually leads right into my next question. And I do have a view on the clock, so I think this particularly is going to be the concluding question, which I want to pose to both of you. And then you very nicely spoke about people, processes, and technology being, the bedrock of any transformation or innovation agenda that has been driven in organizations. And then we have the trio of the data, AI, and cloud. So trio against trio, which is how does trio 1, which is people, processes, and technology, get redefined with trio 2, the inculcation of the right kind of data models, the right kind of AI algorithms, and of course, migration to cloud.
So it's very, very interesting question, because I would say last at least 5-6 years, I have conducted several workshops, and the title of the workshop is Data-Driven Innovation. And most of them is for executive, right? Are we aware of what is data? And sometimes I use the word data literacy, and sometimes people get offended, but that's what it is. Do we understand the data? So for the other trio about cloud, data, and AI, understanding of the data and what is possibility, the art of possibility, only when we are aware of it, that's why we ask the question around it, right? So each of us, as I mentioned, right, behavioral, like activity or inactivity, our behavioral data is also data. Like when we have an advertisement and we all try to click the skip button, right? When we see on the YouTube, right? Now think about it. If the advertisement was so good, they say, no, I want to watch the full ad because it's really good. And that is the future look like, right? How do you understand the behavior of a person, give the ad, give the something which is really interesting for that person, and then continue. So this three part of people, process and all is going to be, I would say, the technology part probably will become much shorter because it's transparent now, right?
Yes.
It's done. As Atul said, right? Students could be using ChatGPT as long as the person reads after the ChatGPT generated their content. But yes, so the technology will be like transparent. It will be given. Like yeah, I can just click, get it. The serverless compute, the no code part of it, all SaaS thing. You should be like assume that things are available. The only part will remain is creativity. How well you stitch together all these components and then make something output in days, not even weeks and months. So I know a lot of people, my son is final year engineering now. He's asking, Dad, do I still have a job? As long as you're focusing on your core engineering principle, you definitely will have a job.
Brilliant. Atul sir, your thoughts on this, and then we'll close.
Time is up, so let me make it very quick. Sorry, I had a brain fade earlier. So 10% was algorithm, 20% was how do you embed that algorithm in your business process, right? And 70% was adoption. Now coming to this point as well, on the data part. See, ultimately, it is about your understanding about your business. How is one generative AI going to be differentiator versus other one when everybody has it? It's all sitting in the cloud. It's absolutely right. Nobody needs to invent it. There's no reinvention required. It's like saying, I will have my own ERP. How many of you have your own ERP? You go to SAP or you go to Oracle, you get that ERP, right? Developing your own ERP is gone. Similarly, in generative AI, it's all sitting in cloud. What will differentiate your AI versus someone else's AI is your understanding about your business, your understanding about what works for your customer, your understanding about your costs and your the way things are moving. And that becomes a differentiator. So more and more I foresee, in fact, technology is not going to be that, in a way, a differentiator because every technology is available for everybody. It is how you use technology, how you adopt it, how do you leverage that versus someone else. Okay, so that is going to be really the critical part, and therefore I think there is a big responsibility for the business people, the financial people, the marketing people to really embrace this. Because I still find a lot of people saying, अभी तो ERP हो गया, अभी क्या चाहिए अपने को, data तो सब है हमारे पास. It is not about quantity. Please note, it is about quality of data. It is about understanding what part of data will really make a difference. You don't need to boil the ocean. But as marketeers, as financiers, if you don't know what is your critical data, critical business drivers, and how you're going to make use of that smartly, it is all about your intelligence. It is not about technology now. Sorry, I'm putting the ball back to you.
No, then that's quite fantastic and thought-provoking actually, because that kind of leads on to the analogy that we just referred to in the conversation short while ago. That if one student has ChatGPT versus another doesn't have, then the one that has it has the unfair advantage. Now let's turn that situation around and think that if everybody has ChatGPT and everybody is using that same essay on that same subject, who do you think gets the marks?
I'm going to open the essay and ask one or two questions. If somebody can answer, they get the marks.
Absolutely. Or the one person who's actually taken efforts to take that input from ChatGPT, apply his own intelligence, and tweak it around.
So this is the point actually. What they say is you take the standard AI models and you combine it with your own data. And that will give it that flavor, which is the special flavor for your company.
Just to add there, so I recently at Capgemini, I was just taken on a new role of people analytics. And we are looking at employee data, employee feedback data, right? We have applied multiple algorithms, none of them gave good quality output. We tweaked it, And then it worked like charm. And now we are able to understand very much faster. We did not use ChatGPT yet because we were a little concerned about some of the other aspects, but it works. It worked very well for us. So the tweaking is required, and that's what is the important part for each of us, right? We don't have to take it as it is. Minor tweaking is okay, and doesn't take a whole lot. Couple of days, that's it.
Brilliant. Well, that's pretty much what we have time for, and we've overshot as well. So on that note, we're now going to close this conversation officially on stage, but off stage it's open for all of us to take over during the networking breaks. Both our speakers are going to be there for all of you to shoot any questions that you would like to. Thank you very much.